Imagine a pest control company that breaks into your restaurant at night, dumps a bag of cockroaches in the kitchen, and the next morning shows up at your front door selling you the contract to clean up the cockroaches. That is exactly what the Southern Poverty Law Center has been doing to America for decades, and it is worse than anyone is telling you because this connects straight into Charlie Kirk's assassination and straight to the very fine people hoax that got used against Donald Trump for 8 years. So let's go through the whole thing. Yesterday, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche and FBI Director Kash Patel stood at a press conference in Washington and announced that a federal grand jury in Alabama had indicted the Southern Poverty Law Center on 11 counts. 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. So, between 2014 and 2023, according to the indictment, the SPLC secretly funneled more than $3 million of donor money to leaders and organizers of the very groups that they said on their website that they were fighting. The Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nations, the American Nazi Party, the National Socialist Movement, the American Front, and the United Klans of America. And the piece that the mainstream media is handling with a pair of tongues this morning, the piece at the center of the whole indictment, is this. One of the SPLC's paid operatives was a member of the online leadership chat group that planned the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Let me say that again. The Southern Poverty Law Center, the organization that has been America's certified referee on who counts as a Nazi for 40 years, had their own man on the inside of the chat group that organized the Charlottesville rally. He attended the rally on SPLC's instructions. He helped coordinate transportation for the attendees. He made racist postings under SPLC supervision. And between 2015 and 2023, the SPLC paid this guy more than $250,000. So the SPLC did not just document the rally that weekend. The SPLC helped run that rally and make sure it was a success. And then on Monday morning, they went back to their own website and they asked grandmothers in Alabama for donations to fight the hate that their own employee had just finished helping to stage. So that is Charlottesville. Now, 4 months before Charlie Kirk was assassinated in September of 2025, the SPLC added Turning Point USA, the youth organization that Charlie founded, to their hate map. They put TPUSA on the same list as the Ku Klux Klan. The same Ku Klux Klan, by the way, that the federal indictment now says that the SPLC was mailing checks to. So, in the SPLC's own Year in Hate report for 2024, Charlie's name appears 18 times. Across their website, 38 separate posts. One day before he was shot, the SPLC's Hate Watch newsletter mentioned him again. And there's a pattern in here. In 2012, a gunman walked into the Family Research Council's offices in Washington, D.C. with a pistol and a backpack of ammunition, and he later told investigators he got the address from the SPLC's hate map. He said he wanted to kill as many people as possible. So yeah, the hate map is actually a targeting list. Now here's the brief mention I promised. For 8 years, that same Southern Poverty Law Center was the moral authority behind the Very Fine People hoax. For 8 years, the mainstream media told you that Donald Trump at Charlottesville defended Nazis. Joe Biden pushed that line over and over and over and over again on the 2020 and the 2024 campaign trails. He said Charlottesville was the reason he was running for president. He made it the opening scene of his campaign launch. The source for the whole thing was, you guessed it, the SPLC. Just 4 months ago, Congressman Jamie Raskin, the top Democrat dog of the House Judiciary Committee, was lecturing America about how the SPLC needs to be relied upon to fight white supremacy, and criticizing Trump for trying to undermine their work. The same SPLC that, it turns out this week, had its own employee inside the Unite the Right leadership chat. You can't make this up. Now, this is the reason I said before that the story is worse than anyone is telling you this morning. The Southern Poverty Law Center is not a civil rights organization. The SPLC is a fraud factory. And the moment you look at how the money moves, the whole building collapses. The SPLC has a page on its website called Extremist Files. It is a public directory of neo-Nazis and white supremacists, their photographs, their birth dates, their hometowns, their criminal histories, and right underneath every profile, a donate button. The federal indictment names one of those profile extremists, a man named Paul Mullet, former Ku Klux Klan member, former director of a faction of the Aryan Nations, founder of the American Nazi Party in 2010. The SPLC put his photograph and his criminal record on their extremist files page and asked donors for money to fight him. And between 2014 and 2016, the SPLC was paying the same guy more than $70,000. Another profile extremist, a former chairman of the National Alliance, sat on the SPLC's Extremist Files page from 2016 to 2023. And during those same years, the SPLC was secretly paying him more than $140,000. So this is a calculated supply chain. The SPLC produces the villain on one page. The SPLC asks Grandma to donate to stop the villain on the next page. The SPLC wires Grandma's check to the villain on the third page. Grandma thinks she paid to dismantle the Klan, but Grandma actually paid the Klan. And the SPLC gets to keep a hefty cut. Now watch what the money does once it comes in. The SPLC's website says today, right now, while their lawyers are picking out their trial suits, and I'm going to quote this directly, no government funds are received or used for its efforts. That sentence is sitting on their website right now. You can go read it. In 2017, the state of Alabama paid the SPLC $750,000 in 2 installments. The second installment, $375,000, was paid on August 7, 2017. The Unite the Right rally happened in Charlottesville just 5 days later. The state of Alabama wired the SPLC $375,000 5 days before the rally the SPLC was helping to organize. And that no government funds sentence is still sitting on their About page right now. So, where does all this money end up? Well, they have an endowment of roughly $730 million. That is larger than the endowments of most American universities. They raise about $140 million a year in donations, and they spend about $110, which means that they bank another $30 million every single year. Their Montgomery headquarters is so lavish, it has been nicknamed the Poverty Palace. And independent reporting says that more than $100 million of that money sits on offshore accounts. The Cayman Islands, the British Virgin Islands, Bermuda, those are not the banks your local charity uses. Those are the banks that people use when they do not want American law enforcement tracing their money. Now, just to be clear, this is an indictment of the organization. Specific individuals inside the SPLC have not been charged yet. The investigation is open, so watch for 2 things in the weeks ahead. Watch for other shoes dropping on named SPLC executives, and watch for the quiet scramble by every bank, every university, and every tech platform that ever debanked, canceled, or demonetized somebody based on an SPLC designation. because that designation was issued by a defendant in a federal fraud case. Every one of those decisions just became a civil liability question. So if you want my deeper analysis on geopolitics and markets, go check my new blog, The Power Pundit. I can say things there that I'm not allowed to say anywhere else. Link in the description. And share this video with your family and friends so they know what's really going on. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm The Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.